Another game, another ugly ending on this one. Heat Celtics. Easy win for Boston, 108-89. Jaylen Brown had 29. Hey, your guy, Peyton Pritchard, 25 off the bench. Tyler Hero with 19. Jaime Jaquez Jr. had 19, 10 rebounds. The Heat have lost back-to-back games. Jimmy out on this one. It was his 5th game missed in the season. Talking about breaking things up. We there for Miami, Chandler?
The window is closing, and it's closing fast. I just think they just seem a step slow. Bam has having a career low years, his number across the board. Jimmy's hasn't been able to find a way to be fully healthy. Tyler Hero has been their best player, and it's not even been close. And for whatever reason, Terry Rozier hasn't been able to hit his rhythm yet. He's averaging 12 a game. You'd think he's an 18 to 20 point a night scorer. He hasn't really found his rhythm since he's been in Miami Heat uniform. So I don't know. Again, if I'm in the Eastern Conference and I'm one of those bottom 5 teams, I'm not really panicking just because it is open. And I think everyone knows that the Celtics are the team to be at this point, no matter how good the Cavs have been, no matter how shocking the Magic and the Knicks are starting to figure it out. The team to beat is the Celtics. So I think if you don't panic quite yet, but man, it does feel like that window is closing.
It definitely feels like this particular group, it's run its course. You know,
right.
They've tried everything from putting Duncan Robinson on the bench to starting them. Same thing with Tyler Hero. They've tried everything they can. They've made every adjustment in the book that you can imagine to keep them competitive and keep them being contenders in the East. For whatever reason, it just looks like it's not translating this year. This group has run its course.
It's crazy, too, because when you throw those Eastern Conference standings up there, and I know Miami's sitting where they're sitting, but then you look at the teams after them who for the last several seasons, you know, the Detroits, the Brooklyn, whatever, you're like, no threat. But as we're watching them play every night, they're scrappy and they're figuring things out.
Even if you look at the standings and you look at the teams that are behind them in the play-in, 8, 9, and 10.
It's rough.
It still feels like all 3 of those teams are even stronger than Miami.
I definitely feel like
I still feel good about Indiana. We can make an argument for Chicago in the way that they're built right now. But even Detroit, like you're starting to feel confident that Detroit can possibly win 2 games to get them in the playoff.
I do. I look at that and I feel more confident about those teams below than I do.
I can't buy the whole like they're going to turn it on in the playoffs though. I think
Miami?
I think that whole narrative
over.
Is over.
The
teams are too good. Yeah, like teams have caught up. You can't just there's not a switch that teams can just turn on and do that. So like playoff Jimmy, I understand he's a dog. He's been great in the playoffs, but this is a long season. This all takes time, and it just feels like the Heat are just missing something.
So I'm glad you brought up Jimmy. They didn't have a contract extension done during the summer. He does have a player option for next year. But let's look. Is it time to trade him? And if so, where does Jimmy Butler go? What's a good spot?
I don't know what's a great place to land, but again, if we're talking about this team having their moment and it's run its course, obviously you give this a serious look. You know, to find somewhere for Jimmy, especially with him having a player extension going into this summer. If you're going to make some different moves and go in a different direction, the time is now for the Miami Heat.
I got 2 places that I'd like to see him. I think 2 teams that are on the rise that are young enough and good enough that need small forwards, and I think it's the Houston Rockets, who are right there. He fits that culture. He fits that DNA. He would be great with Udoka. I think there's enough vets in that locker room where he's just going to grind. He's going to buy into what they're doing. And the Cleveland Cavs, they need a small forward. They need a small forward literally since LeBron James left. So I think he would fit there. He kind of gives them that toughness. I'd like to see that. And again, Jimmy Butler is a dog. He is a great player. You don't just trade him. But if he's just going to walk this summer and you lose him for nothing, adios. I'd rather get something.
Hawks for a sleeper pick as well.
Okay, so we got 3 on the board.
Yeah, you got.
And you know what? They can take back like a DeAndre Hunter. They could take back something.
Absolutely. Yeah, give me the Atlanta Hawks for a sleeper.
All right, things to keep your eye on. We got Cleveland, Houston.
With no Shams, we're just making shit up over here.
Hey, we're going to post it, and we're going to call it news. You heard it here first. So we're going to take a quick